Trent Parke is an award-winning and internationally renowned photographer, the only Australian to be invited into the prestigious Magnum Photographic Cooperative. His work captures the surreal reality of Australia and draws on life experience. His latest exhibition at the Gallery of South Australia is a culmination of 7 years' work and him rediscovering his past.
It started with a single line in an email that I sent to a fellow Magnum photographer about potentially making a body of work on the theme of home. Being part of the Magnum organisation, there's all these great photographers and we meet once a year at the annual general meeting. We look at pictures and we look at what everyone's doing. There's never been this sort of understanding really of where we grew up and where we come from. 7 years later, 1,000 rolls of film a year for 7 years, hundreds of written stories and text and narrative. You never know where something's going to take you. The things that influence you as a child growing up, they never ever leave you. And I would sit at home, you know, on the back deck, listening to Midnight Oil albums and all the imagery that it conjured up, and waiting for my chance when I was old enough to go and explore. When I start a project, I will literally shoot for 3 weeks, not think about anything. And that's what I love about photography. It's stuff that's right down deep that you can't get to, and those things that are buried beneath layers and layers and layers, and they emerge in some form. It's like I'm always fascinated about how and why you are drawn to a particular subject and why you click the button. It's the things that have influenced you growing up that resurface in a way. Thousands upon thousands of images. You start to see the connections between things. That's what this show is really about. It's connecting the dots. It's always one thing leads to the next.
The way Trent works is he's very particular about the images he chooses and the way he sequences them, because he wants you to experience them in a particular order so that you can then get an additional meaning from them.
Well, I guess there was one moment in my life which changed my life forever, and that was when my mum died of an asthma attack when I was 13 years old, and it was very sudden, and I was the only one sort of with her at the time. And I guess from that point on, I've always questioned everything. You know, I guess with all my work, that's what I'm essentially after. I picked up Mum's camera, and she had a small darkroom and enlarger and in the laundry, and started taking photographs, and from that point it's really never left my side.
Trent started his photographic career as a photojournalist for the Australian newspaper, moving to Sydney from Newcastle as a young man.
I never really ever saw myself as a photojournalist, you know, that's what I did for work. It was the way to actually get money and survive and be able to take the photographs that I wanted. I also came down because I just made the New South Wales cricket squad and so forth in the second 11, and there was this opportunity, well, I was going to be a cricketer or a photographer, and in the end, the newspaper, I found it very quickly took up every second. You know, there was no time to do anything other than be a photographer. Very quickly I worked out that I wanted to do sports photography, because I had a natural interest in the game, travelled with the Australian cricket team, and I realised also that I wouldn't want to be a famous person or a famous cricketer. I mean, you are under the microscope the entire time. I like to sit back and watch life and watch things going on.
Always underneath there is this nervous energy, there is this artist who's looking at the world constantly, and you know, that's how he gets his amazing photographs, because he sort of notices things that we don't notice.
It is all about anticipation. It's no point just, you know, the camera is just a black box and and you click the button. That's all that happens. It's about being ahead of time, and time is very important in the Black Rose. It is about being in a place before the event happens and knowing where to be, and then it's just a simple click of the button.